morning, everybody, and welcome back to Star Cub Review. As always, I'm your host, Star Cub. Today, I've got a couple of videos coming. This one is a game review, or final review, actually, of a game that I just finished completing finally as of yesterday. I got a movie review coming. I'll have part 3 of my quintessential Aussie TV shows that I recommend that you all watch. I'll have that coming probably in the next couple of days. I'm just trying to compile a couple of surprises for that one, so that one's going to take a bit of time. But and then I've got another couple of other surprises coming up. But with this one, it is a final review of a game that I was in the middle of playing, and with all these other games that I've been playing all up in between, especially Lies of P, Mortal Kombat 1, and trying to get those completed, and Trinity Trigger and all of that as well, I finally was able to beat, you guessed it, Super Nintendo game, Breath of Fire, which was made by Capcom and not Square Soft. Just to put that one quite clearly, it was Capcom, not Squaresoft. Squaresoft were the distributor, but they in no way made Breath of Fire at all. It was actually Capcom. But what can I say about Breath of Fire? I really thoroughly enjoyed it. As simplistic as it is, the story, basically, you know, a bunch of heroes go to save the princess. The main character finds out that there's a bigger story involved, a few twists and turns. The gameplay in itself is really handled really well. I like the auto battle system in it as well, and I did do a review of it, which I will post a link to down in the comments, in my comments section below, in the about section. So if you want to click on that and watch that review, I think it's only had about 9 views so far, but I'd really appreciate it if you guys could take a look at that one. But I explained the mechanics of the game there, and bits of the story, and what basically makes the game for me is the fact that the characters are very well liked, are very likable. I quite enjoy the vast array of characters in it that you get to play with. It is a top-notch RPG for anyone that's looking to go to old school RPGs. I recommend Breath of Fire. Now I really want to get the rest of the Breath of Fire series and start playing the rest of those, because this one, the first one, was actually really good. And some, you know, the final slug of bosses was very interesting as well. Some unique mechanics there. But one of the most unique mechanics I liked of Breath of Fire was the fact that the main character, Ryu, could change into these different dragons, which was really cool. And the ultimate one being Agni, or Agni, that's it, Agni. It had some really cool mechanics because you could change into the dragon during the fight, and then everyone becomes infused together, so they're all fused to create this mythical dragon. And then you just pummel the shit out of, you know, the bosses or enemies, however you like to put it. But you really had to go out there and search for all the different dragon forms, which I kind of liked, at these dragon shrines, and you'd be tested before you get that power. So that was a very unique... Oh, excuse me. I got the hiccups. Oh, excuse me. So it is very unique in that aspect, which I kind of liked. Everything else about it, the story is simplistic. It's not the world's greatest story, but you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed the story. I really have to commend Capcom. It was a engaging story, you know, good versus evil. You don't know if the Dark Dragon clan is all that bad, who started the war, sort of thing. So there's all these sort of questions that come into play, like, are we actually how many of them are actually bad and how many of them are actually good? Like, not all of them started this, that started off this whole war. But it is very interesting. It's challenging, I will give you that. For an RPG, for the Super Nintendo, it is challenging. I will give it that. It is not something you can just go from A to B to C to D to E through the story. Some of the bosses are actually quite challenging. If you're under-leveled, you need to level up in order to actually beat them to get certain skills for your characters. So it is quite a challenge, and definitely the final row of bosses towards the end of the story get challenging. Although I was higher leveled rather than lower leveled, so my time with the bosses was very, very easy. But it was great to engage them, to play with the dragon mechanic, and yeah, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I said, I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to get into the old school RPGs. Final Fantasy is another one, old school RPGs that I absolutely love. And that's one I highly recommend anybody gets into. But if Final Fantasy is not your cup of tea, that's completely fine. Breath of Fire might be your cup of tea. Mario RPG might be your cup of tea. It all just depends. But this game, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. What do I give it? I would have to say 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. There's a little few side quests and whatnot, but I think what would have made this game even greater is if it had some more challenging side quests that make you get really important weapons or items, somewhere along those lines. But it was fun for what it is. It's simplistic as it is. Some of the mechanics in it are unique, and I kind of like. Reminds me of Final Fantasy, Secret of Mana series, and a whole bunch of other RPGs that you can see taken inspiration from this one and that one and this one, and it's unique in itself. So it's not just copying Final Fantasy, and it's not just copying the Secret of Mana and all of that. It's actually unique in its own. So I have to really commend them for that, and it's a good game. Other than that, guys, I will leave you with this one, and I'll see you all in the next video. Alright guys, take it easy. Ciao.